What's going on, 5-9 Gaming Crew? Lethal One up here, and guys, welcome back to the episode of the Weekly Wrap. This series we talk about the gaming news of the past week. Speaking of which, I got 5 pieces of news to go over. We get a mix of Resident Evil, PlayStation, Xbox, and more. With that being said, let's jump into our very first piece of news, and that is Resident Evil 4 Remake. More rumors are coming out. Now, this is from Imran Khan at Fanbyte. He says the game is in development and set to be revealed this year if all goes according to plan, which is great because, again, these rumors have been circulating for quite a long time at this point. Capcom put Resident Evil 2's remake team, project leads, on to run this project as well, which is even better news because that was my favorite of the remakes so far. I thought 3 was okay, but 2 was by far the best one. Capcom wants to adjust the tone of the remake into something spookier. According to this rumor, it's the village scenes and a decent portion of the game are going to be taking place at night, right, to get this more spookier vibe. And some changes to the story are also going to be happening, such as giving side characters bigger roles and more screen time are also being planned. Ada's campaign will be even more big, which was a special little segment in the past game, but they're planning to expand it to a much more greater depth in this remake. Capcom is hoping to announce Resident Evil 4 Remake early in 2022. So I'd imagine if they're going to announce it this year, it's got to be somewhat close to being actually coming out. Maybe next year. I would think maybe winter of next year, possibly like the holiday season. But that would be some great news. Again, this has been circling for some time now. I think people were really excited after Village. Resident Evil 4 Remake, like that's the one where they have to go big. So it seems like, they're taking certain things like, for example, focusing on Ada. I think that's awesome. Let's expand it. Let's go deeper into it. I like that there's this whole thing with remakes where they're starting to give more of the actual lore. And these are the pieces that you didn't really see before unless you really looked into the game. And so it's cool just to see them make, bigger emphasis on stuff like that for the remake. And they're going with the spookier approach. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is so big. Considering I loved Resident Evil 7, and for me, always Resident Evil I always took it as like more of like the horror route. I always liked it more for being scarier and being like, again, just more into the horror stuff, less of the action, right? No Chris punching boulders and stuff like that. So again, it just makes my day to see that, hey, they want to make it more spookier. They want to make it scarier. Again, I'm for that, but let us know down below in the comment section your thoughts on that. Jumping into story number 2, and that is PlayStation Indies updates from Shuhei Yoshida at the PlayStation blog. We got a bunch of updates on a bunch of indies that are coming out, and again, just overall updates. 7 to be specific, first of which, Moss, book number 2. We have Animal Well, TMNT Shredder's Revenge, Post Void, Salt and Sacrifice, Samurai Gun 2, and Hello Neighbor 2. Again, just big W just for supporting indies, right? We got to support our indies. Jumping into story number 3, Microsoft announces support for Call of Duty beyond current contracts for PlayStation and more. This is from Brad Smith over at Microsoft Blogs. Now, in a statement from Microsoft for the regulations process of the big Acti-Blizz merger, Microsoft's Brad Smith says that Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard games will continue to be released on PlayStation and Nintendo platforms beyond current agreements. Now, I want to dig deeper into this and give you guys the actual full statement because there's some interesting stuff in it that I'd like to kind of just put a little bit of an emphasis focus on. Now, the official statement reads like this. They say, to be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available on PlayStation through the term of any existing agreements with Activision. And we have committed to Sony that we will also make them available on PlayStation beyond the existing agreement and into the future so that Sony fans can continue to enjoy the games they love. We are also interested in taking similar steps to support Nintendo's successful platform. We believe this is the right thing for the industry, for gamers, and for our businesses. The part of me that is like, whoa, is the obvious. It's so obvious to be like, okay, cool. They're planning on doing more with PlayStation in terms of Call of Duty, right? Beyond the actual agreements, they're saying it's indefinite, right? It's going even past that. It's beyond that. They're committed to making sure Call of Duty still goes on PlayStation, which again makes sense. That's such a big money cut, and I don't think that's something they're going to want to deal with in terms of the current backlash that they're kind of getting from a bunch of the player base. But also, right, this is also current talks during a time where they're getting their regulatory process getting done right for this big Activision Blizzard merger. So they're going to also kind of say stuff like this. So we'll have to see if that actually stands true. But the part of this that actually caught my eye the most was that they seem to want to be supporting Nintendo more. And so I feel like it's been, I don't even know was the last time Nintendo got a Call of Duty game, to be specific. I'm thinking like maybe Black Ops, I think, back in the day. So it's pretty cool to see that, like, you know, they're also saying in this that we also want to support Nintendo more going forward as well. So, you know, maybe this is not just PR talk. Maybe they're not just saying this and they do plan on doing that. Makes sense, maybe financial wise, but also, right, there is the whole thing of maybe they're just saying this during this time period where, you know, they are getting approved for this big merger. So we'll have to definitely keep tabs on this, but it's an interesting take, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it down below. Jumping into story number 4, Platinum Game Studio wants to work on Scalebound again. This is from Andy Robinson over at VGC. Platinum Games has expressed interest in revisiting its canceled Xbox exclusive Scalebound one day and opening discussions with Microsoft's gaming CEO Phil Spencer. The action RPG was originally planned as an Xbox exclusive in 2017, but the game was eventually canceled. The studio said they were working in an environment they weren't used to and were developing on the Unreal Engine where they didn't feel strong, and also lacked the necessary know-how to build a game based on online features. Now, this game, it honestly held a lot of promise back when it was announced. It was actually a really cool looking game. You know, it was an action RPG, right? It had dragons involved. It had a cool like DMC kind of vibe to it. But the big thing was that the project got canceled, and then Phil Spencer kind of went public about it. It just went bad, right? And there was lots of talks, rumors about, you know, just bad practices that are happening. You know, it was a big mistake on Platinum. They messed up, or whatever the case may be. Obviously, it didn't work out. But they're opening, you know, they're saying to Phil, hey, we would love to work on this again. Don't scratch it, right? There's obviously something that was there that was already worked on. You know, let's finish that up. So honestly, I don't know. A lot of people don't want to see Platinum work on that game anymore. But personally, I think I love Platinum games. I love their games. I think they obviously had something that they were really passionate about. I think they wanted to do good by this. I think just things didn't work out. But it seems like they really want to go back. You know, maybe they've learned a lot more since then, right? This was years ago. So I would like to see them kind of work on it. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it. If there's a studio underneath Xbox, now we know there's a big wide of studios underneath Xbox. What would you want to see? Who would you want to see work on that project? Again, Scalebound I thought was a really promising game. It looked really cool. So I would like to see Xbox, or maybe they've already done it, right? Maybe they already have a studio working on it. Who knows? But would not want to see that IP kind of go to waste. But, you know, for sure, we'll keep up on tabs of this story because it's definitely interesting because Platinum Games is putting it out there. It's kind of up to see where Microsoft responds to it or not. Jumping into our final story, and that is Bandai Namco wants to make its own Metaverse. The Metaverse continues. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Bandai Namco has revealed plans to develop its own $130 million IP Metaverse to help fans of its games interact. Now, this strategy consists of 3 main goals: connecting with fans through its IP, enhancing IP value, and making its project span worldwide to improve sales outside of Japan. And in this IP metaverse, they are anticipating virtual spaces that will enable customers to enjoy a wide range of entertainment on an IP access, as well as the frameworks that leverage Bandai Namco's distinctive strengths to fuse physical products and venues with digital elements. Honestly, I don't have any comments on this. I think the metaverse is a concept that I don't even know if it's going to happen anymore, especially with the whole Facebook ordeal. Now everybody wants to kind of get into this whole metaverse thing and just create this whole digital scape world with their IP and stuff like that. And Bandai Namco clearly wants to do something of that nature. I don't know if we're there yet. I feel like that's where I'm at. I always felt like I'm not sure if we're there yet, but you give me your thoughts. I mean, you know, this eventuality of the metaverse, is this something that you'd want to see? Do you want to start seeing big publishers start making their own spaces in the metaverse? I don't know. Sometimes I try to think about how that would look in my mind, and I guess like a digital Disney World in a way, right? But again, just like that publisher, if it's Bandai Namco in this, you know, in this example here, Pac-Man and stuff like that, like you just want to see that kind of a thing. Would you definitely go into the metaverse and get into this and start buying products if they sell it through the metaverse? Like it's such a crazy concept. Again, love to hear your thoughts down below about it. I still think something like this, I'm not sure if we're there yet for it, but the push is obviously getting there, right? Everybody's trying to get into this whole, you know, metaverse. You know, there's the whole thing of NFTs. People are getting into it, and obviously companies want to get into it and want to make that money because they see something. So let me know down below your thoughts about that. And before we end it here, games that released this past week, we had Crossfire X for Xbox Series X, S, and 1 that dropped on February 10th. And then we also had Kingdom Hearts Collection, the Cloud Edition for Switch on February 10th. And just a heads up, you better have some good internet connection for that Kingdom Hearts collection, because if not, definitely try out the demo first. I know I mentioned it before in the last weekly wrap, but please try out the demos first before you give that a shot, because it is cloud. You need internet. You got to have at least stable, good connection internet. But definitely try out the demo before you drop into that the Kingdom Hearts collection for Switch, because that's a big one. That's definitely a big one. And it being cloud it's pretty sad, especially when you just see the Nintendo Direct, right? They had games that are coming to Switch that they obviously optimize, and it just makes you think Kingdom Hearts could have done the same thing, right? Look at No Man's Sky. No reason, right? No reason. But guys, be sure to give us your thoughts down below in the comment section. Share any stories that I may have missed that you thought just worth discussing. Drop it down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. I am Lethal1Up, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.